In the previous lessons, we discussed where self is, and self is nothing but consciousness. Next issue is when did this self come about? When did self come? That is to ask, when did this consciousness emerge? Damasio gives a very systematic account of evolution of self. So let us review that. First, there is a single-celled organisms. Single cell. Say bacteria. There is a bacteria. Single cell. Okay. But what does this single cell have? Of course, it is life. It can move. But do you know what it can, how it will negotiate with its environment? It moves when it gains something plus. Do you know? This movement or this behavior is encouraged. Suppose the bacteria does something, but it gets negative. It gets negative consequence. Then it is discouraged. It means it negotiates with the environment, finds out whether it is plus or minus. If it is plus, does it again, reinforced. If it is minus, avoids. All within a single cell, which means it has memory. Memory is a way of storing consequences. Memory is storing consequences. So, bacteria does something, gets food, it will do it again. Does something, it gets hurt, it will avoid it. So, the DNA in the bacteria has the way of negotiating with this environment. Okay. This in a single cell, it means plus minus mechanism, memory is there in single cell. Okay. Then what happens after that? Cells get added up. Add up, like this. multicellular structures emerge. Complex things emerge. Okay. Bacteria was about billions of years ago. Okay. But by 500 million years, vertebrates emerge. Something like this. Whole body systems develop. These whole body systems, it can be circulatory system, skeletal structures, they develop. Okay. So we know that self is on the brainstem. But the brainstem evolved after the skeleton, nervous system. Okay. So self came after many millions of years. So before the emergence of self, what was happening to the life forms? Here, Damasio focuses on two issues, that is brain and mind. So this lesson is about evolution of brain and mind. Brain is some structure and some concentration in the end. It is the brain. Okay. But what is this whole thing doing? Is it simply kind of a scaffolding to various cells? It's not really so. Nervous system is made up of neurons, specialized forms of cell which are very good at communication system. So let us see what is going on here. Nervous system, says Damasio, is making maps of the body. Making maps of the body. Okay. Like when you are driving in a vehicle, you have a GPS system. From GPS you know where various places in the city are. GPS is mapping of the locations. Nervous system includes making maps. Maps of what? Of various body states, functions, blood flow, heart, pain, toes, various things stored. Okay. But unlike GPS, which deals with only physical location, this deals with physical location and which is not only of visual type but also of various types like hearing, touch. That is, map is not only of visual kind but all kinds. Of the body and then of the world. The world is perceived through senses. Let me summarize. Nervous system makes maps of the data of the inside body and the data of the outside. The data includes visual, tactile, sound, smell, any kind of things. So inside and outside mapped in nervous system. But that is not the end. This mapping also takes into account another feature, that is whether it is good or bad, whether it is pleasure or pain. That means the valence is recorded. Okay. So, smaller blood flow to the heart, it is recorded as minus. Okay. You touch on something and it was too hot. The hotness recorded and minus. Okay. You moved to a particular place and there was a lot of tasty food. Taste and plus recorded. That is what nervous system is doing. A bacteria had memory, but only very small. It's just one single cell. But here, it's a complex recording system, whole body systems, of senses, inside, outside, plus, minus. So, nervous system is for mapping. And what is brain? Brain is related to the nervous system. Brain is some kind of specialization within the nervous system. In fact, in lower beings, take for example insects, it is found that this mapping and movement is so decentralized that in certain insects, if a head is cut off, an insect will take the head and fly. It means its memory, movement, all are not confined to the head. It is decentralized. But in human being, if head is cut off, I don't think one can pick up one's head and make a move. Okay. So, these are important things. The important thing is, body is related to nervous system. Body is related to nervous system. Nervous system is related to brain. You may ask, why this science class? It's not like that. It has huge philosophical implications. Give some time to Understand? Body is linked to nervous system is linked to brain. So, mapping is going on all around. This mapping is nothing but plus minus stamping. Something hurt you, minus stamping. Something pleased you, plus stamping. It means some stimuli is declared plus and minus and stamped. Psychologists call that process conditioning. Stamping of neutral stimuli with plus and minus is conditioning. Okay. So, this is about maps, nervous system, brain, conditioning. So, brain, specialized part of the nervous system, had all this data. Okay, human brain perhaps is more centralized than the brain of the insect. Okay, next. If this is brain, then what is mind? If brain is consisting of maps, what is the function of these maps? These maps are manipulated. Okay. In a video game, there are only images, but manipulation of images in a particular way or manipulation of maps in a particular way is called mind. Damasio calls them images. Just maps referring to brain and images referring to mind. So mind is nothing but manipulation of images. Does it look very odd? It need not. Just think of a thought. What you are going to do tomorrow. You imagine now you are going. You are saying this to a particular person. He gave this reaction. You felt bad or you felt good. What is all this? It is simply image flow. So what is thought? Thought is nothing but flow of images. These images coming from maps of the brain. So what is thought? Image manipulation. So after a particular manipulation, one gets to understand solution and moves. It's a frightening line. Then organism thinks, manipulates with images and takes to flight. Sexually attractive female or male. Image making, thinking and moves. Okay. So, mind is intrinsically connected to brain. So, body is intrinsically connected to brain, brain is connected to mind. There is no brain without body. You can, of course, you may separate, but the brain is nothing but the body mapped. Okay, so brain is intrinsically connected to body, and the manipulation of the contents within the brain is mind. So, in a scientific sense, mind cannot exist without brain, and brain cannot exist without body. And recording is always with valence, and thought is nothing but manipulation of the images coming from physically recorded structures on the neural network. So this is about, let me summarize, single-celled organisms, complex, vertebrates, nervous system, brain, and then all through the brain, manipulation of maps or the images is the mind. Okay, so this is how complex structures which can unify trillions of cells emerged. Damasio is interested how exactly or for what purpose something like self and consciousness came. What is the additional thing that self or consciousness supposed to do to this existing arrangement? When did self evolve? What is the advantage it will confer on the organism to do its work in a better way? Are the issues we're going to examine. Thank you.